So, are you married to a Filipina or do you have a Filipina girlfriend? And, there's a little bit of a culture clash whenever you cohabitate, you marry a Filipina. There may be some things about superstitions and myths and things that you might understand. And that's what this video is about, is to try to bring forth some of the most common and some uncommon superstitions here in the Philippines. I'm going to start out by telling you a little story about when we had a mangagamot come to our property. So you might ask, what's a mangagamot? I never had heard of it, and I just actually heard about that like 2 days ago. Well, I'm going to read a little bit of something that kind of help you to understand it and know that I'm just not making it up. So a mangagamot is a healer who practices the art of healing, uses traditional practices, herbal remedies, and sometimes the power of suggestion. The term folk was traditionally associated with medical and healing practices that weren't explicitly approved by the dominant religious orthodoxy in charge or dominant religious institution, which in the Philippines, we know what that is for the most part. It's the Catholic Church. And then there's a significant Muslim population as well. Not sure, which one was against it, but anyway, that's the case. That's what a mangagamot is. We had a mangagamot come to our property because something was found in our caretaker house. Now I'm going to tell you all this stuff just like I believe every word of it, okay? So you may say, well, that's silly, you believe it. No, I'm just telling you what actually happened, okay? I'm telling you what happened, what prompted this mangagamot to come out to our property and do a blessing. He walked around the property. He said things that, he felt certain things were certain places. Maybe we shouldn't be somewhere a certain part of the day. And in fact, there was a ditch on the back of our property. He said, well, between, I think it was 10 and 3 o'clock, you don't need to go down in that ditch. Well, I've never been down in that ditch anyway, but anyway, that was one of the things that he said. So the reason he came was one of the guys or the workers, or maybe my brother-in-law, had found it was like a can that you'd put chips in and had a sealed lid, and it had at least 3 things in it. It had a needle and some thread, and it had like a piece of broken mirror or glass. They were all contained in this, I'm going to say, Pringles can, and it was stuck underneath the counter in the kitchen area. And if you watch my videos, you've seen that kitchen area. It's just it's not really functional yet. So anyway, that's where it was found. Well, you might say, okay, what's that got to do with anything? But I was told, and I've tried to research this, and I really can't find anything on it. But at least here in this part of the country, Iloilo, and then this is in Guimaras. So, a person that finds something like that, that means that somebody is trying to put a spell on them, okay? And it actually upset several of my family. And it was during a regular difficult time in the family anyway. And then this came, and there's been some issues with the real estate and just on and on. Who put it there? We don't know. We have no idea who put it there. And so, I've asked a lot of questions about it. And to be honest, quick story, we had went over there and to the property, and all of a sudden this guy shows up, the mangagamot, and I didn't know him. I didn't know the term. I just, again, learned the term yesterday. But so anyway, he comes, and I said, well, what is he? Well, he's kind of like a faith healer. Okay, what's the deal? Well, then they told me about the Pringles can, the string, the needle, and the mirror, a piece of broken glass or mirror. And I thought, well, obviously that's a problem. No, I didn't say that, but I don't live around that. I didn't grow up around that stuff. I felt a little funny about this guy coming over because I felt like he was kind of like a spiritualist or something like that. And I was born and raised in the Baptist church. Okay, so this stuff is very foreign to me, and I'm not saying the Baptists got everything right. I don't even go to church now, but what I'm saying is that was my spiritual upbringing was in the Baptist church, and we never went to church until I was about 12, and I spent a lot of time in church over the years. So anyway, that just kind of hit me the wrong way in a sense, and I really got angry. Uh, Not just on the inside. I'm just standing there watching all this stuff, and I thought, how can these people believe this stuff? You know, and he wants everybody. At the end, we did a prayer or whatever, and he wanted to look at everybody's palm. So he was a palm reader too, and so I didn't really want to do it. I said, what the heck? It's all these people standing around. I'm just like, yeah, look at my palm. Who cares? What, you know, here, you look at my palm. I mean, that's, it's not going to hurt anything, is what I'm saying. So anyway, he did that and he said something. I don't even know what he said. But anyway, that's a quick story, a 6-minute story. Anyway, another thing that one of my first encounters with Filipino um, superstitions, when we built the house in Pavia, they were digging it all out, and they had got down to the foundation. They're about ready to pour the foundation. All the rebar was there, and they may have had some concrete, maybe a couple feet of concrete poured. But they brought in, and I got this on video. They brought in a goat, and they take him in there to the structure that's being built, and they cut the goat's throat, and they put the blood all over the foundation. They went all the way around to each big pillar. There's a massive pillars in this house that we've got. I mean, it's amazing. So they put blood all over that, and he squealed for a while, but then he eventually quit squealing. And they throw coins down in each pillar. So this is a superstition. So I kind of looked that up. Basically, it's a blood offering. And said it's believed to have originated from ancient practice of offering blood of humans before starting construction. However, this is tamed down a little bit because now they only require the blood of a goat or sometimes a chicken. It's believed to make the house strong and the construction process accident-free. So it's supposed to even protect the residents of the house. This is why they do it. Some people prefer a certain type of chicken, like a native chicken, to be offered. Other people believe the bigger animal, like a goat or a pig, that'll give you more and greater blessings to come. So that's that. The coins are also scattered not only on the footing, but also other parts of the house. This is believed to bring good financial abundance to the owners of the house, and they will not have difficulties in their finances. Well, okay. That's why they do it. Aside from the footing, this is also done during the pouring of the second floor slab, the entrance porch flooring, or the stairs in the main entrance door of the house. So, and I took this right off of a construction company's comments on the internet. So this is a big company in the Philippines. They posted this. This is what they do when they construct a building for you. And I think they do a fair amount of large construction or large commercial buildings. So, this is not an uncommon practice, and we've participated in it. I participated via video. I got a video when I was in the U.S. back in 1819. We were building this house. So, yeah, that was something else. Next is kind of some common, I would say more common superstitions that are pretty common in the Philippines. Sweeping at night. Sweeping at night is said to bring bad luck and poverty to the household. So, I don't know. I look at these superstitions sometimes and I got to shake my head a little bit, but I want to tell you something. from an American perspective, we may say it's strange, we may say it's crazy, or why do they believe this? Simple-minded, or what, whatever. But I'm telling you, it's deeply rooted, especially you get outside Manila in the provinces. It's deeply rooted in the psyche of people here in the Philippines. It really is. Uh, Opening umbrellas indoors. Now, I've heard of that in the United States. Bad luck to open an umbrella indoors. You know, I don't know. Whatever. Maybe you poke somebody in the eye. I don't know. It just said it said to be bad luck. It said, so anyway, another one that you might not have heard of, and I heard a lot of these superstitions when we had a death in the family. One of them is that you don't bathe during a wake. And so I asked my wife about this last night. She said, "Yeah, that's a true thing. But what you got to understand, sometimes a lot of these wakes last for 30 days. So, I don't know what's supposed to happen, but it says bathing is not allowed during a wake to prevent another death in the family." Okay, I don't know how that prevents another death in the family, but that's the superstition. That's what this video is about. And I'm not here to condemn anybody that believes this kind of stuff. We're all people, man. We're just trying to get through life and do the best we can. And, I'm going to kind of lean on the side. I'm not a very superstitious person. I do believe in God, and I believe that, and a lot of people would say that's superstition. So, there you go. Maybe evangelical Christians and Catholics are the most superstitious of all. Who knows? But so I'm not really here to put down their beliefs in any way. But I asked my wife about this, and she was talking about when she had an uncle that passed away sometime this year, and so the wake was held over close to the house, just a few blocks away. So they had a lot of family come in from Manila and different places, and of course a lot of people come and visit. But they're not supposed to take a bath in that house where the wake is at. Now they would, for what I'm just telling you what happened here. If you know about all these superstitions and you're a Filipino, feel free to comment. Put your 2 cents down in the comment section right now. I mean, because I want to learn more. I'm always curious. I just live my life as a curious person. But anyway, they had the wake over there, and we weren't here at the time. So there would be people, family members, come over, and they would use some of the showers downstairs, and they would clean up because, they believe that bathing there at the house and having a wake it's bad luck, and it could potentially cause another death in the family. Pretty serious. If you believe that, that's a pretty serious superstition. So, you're not going to push your luck if you believe in that stuff. So also another one, keeping a candle lit beside the coffin, keeping it lit during the whole wake. So somebody has to be vigilant, to do that. And Filipino funerals, that's a whole nother video. I'm telling you what, if you've never been to one, you've never been around one, it's different. It's very different. And definitely, I need to do a video on that. Definitely, you won't understand if you've never been around it. So, and if you have been around it, you're probably still not going to understand if you're from the West, if you're from the United States, Canada, or, any other country like that. Keeping that candle lit beside the coffin. The candle must remain lit beside the coffin in order to light the deceased soul to the afterlife. That's the reason. Take it or leave it, that's the reason. Another thing that I'll add to this, when I saw a coffin placed, usually when you go to a funeral home in the West, okay, the head is going to be on the left side of the casket. You'll walk up, there's usually a line that comes up, and you'll go by the feet, or maybe the casket's closed on the bottom half, and then you walk up, and the head is usually on the left, well, almost always on the left-hand side. So I saw a body, and the head was on the right-hand side. So I thought, well, there's got to be a superstition about that, because I just never seen it done before. So I asked, and here was the answer. Uh, they believe that, if the spirit is going to get up and try to go to the afterlife or go to heaven or whatever, the feet are closest. This was in an outside kind of parlor area. Uh, so the feet were close to a gate. So if the body would get up and walk away, it wouldn't be hard for it to find its way. Okay, so I mean that's it. That's it just to like, that's just an added superstition that I found out that day. Avoid wearing bright colors during funerals. Wearing bright colors during funerals is forbidden because it symbolizes joy. Kind of get that. It's almost like a social thing. I could see that. A lot of them wear, most Filipinos will wear black. So avoiding looking at your reflection in the mirror during a wake. And I can say this, all of our mirrors I think in our apartment they weren't, but I saw some mirrors and we have some reflecting windows at the house. Those were covered up. And why? Why would you cover that up? My wife, I don't know what the reason was. She just kind of knew that was something you're supposed to do. And you get all these superstitions that added in from other people. It's not like my wife come up with all this stuff or she's extremely superstitious. She's actually more superstitious than I thought and that I knew, and I've lived with her 20 years. Yeah, I was going to say, if she's ever hid anything from me, it's the fact that her thing is, okay, she may not believe in it, but she's going to say it doesn't hurt anything to follow that superstition. It doesn't cost you any money, doesn't cost any effort. So anyway, but I looked up the avoiding the looking in the mirror when you're having a wake at a house, and the superstition is that you look in that mirror and that dead person may come and look in that mirror with you. And I guess you're going to be scared or it's a bad omen or something like that. Knocking on wood is another thing in Filipino culture. If you're kind of nervous about something, whatever, just like knock on wood. We say that in the West. We say it in America. So that's not really that big of a deal. As far as, I don't know, I've just heard people say it. I don't know why they do it, but they do. This one is kind of a new one to me. And I learned this because this is what really revealed to me that my wife had been practicing some of this stuff, or at least gave it credence of some sort in her life. It's saying a phrase out loud called tabi tabi po. And I even mentioned that in one of my videos. I just said, be sure and say, when you go here, be sure and say tabi tabi po. And what that is, that's like telling, if you're going into, and this is their language, they say like an enchanted place. And that could be a huge tree, it could just be in the forest, or just sometimes you go someplace and just kind of gives you the willies a little bit, it just makes your hair stand on end or whatever. And I'm not super sensitive to that stuff. I'm just dumb enough to just walk anywhere. I mean, whatever. But this tabi tabi po is to alert spirits that you're coming, and so they can get out of the way. You don't want to step on one, something like that. At least make them aware of your presence so they'll pretty much leave you alone. So anyway, I knew that my wife, this is when I really discovered that she'd had these deeply held superstitions. And a lot of Filipinos will tell you, no, we're not super. My wife always told me the same thing too. But this little story was about in our old house that we tore down on this same location that, I'm in right now. We had an old bathroom in that old house, and there was dirt floor because we had a flood here, and it was a mess. The old house was kind of a mess, and that's why we tore it down and built a new one. But she said in that bathroom, she said it just kind of like made her hair stand up on end or whatever, like on her arms or something. And because we're talking about this tabi tabi po, I had recently heard of it earlier in the year. And so I was asking her about it, and we discussed it over a few days. And she said, yeah, remember that old bathroom? I used to say that. And we're talking 2007, 2008. And I didn't know I'd never heard of this phrase, but tabi tabi po says when passing through dwellings of spirits such as cemeteries, haunted grasslands, large trees, groups of forests. Anytime you kind of get that feeling that there's something out there. I don't ever get that feeling, but whatever. That's the way it is. Uh, Pagpag. Pagpag is another one. After coming from a wake, Filipinos do not go home straight away to avoid the soul of the dead person to follow them back home. Pagpag. It's a superstition. You don't go straight back home, from a wake or from a burial because they're afraid the dead. I don't know what the dead person is going to do, but that's a superstition, and there's a lot of people that, they believe in it. So that's one that's it's pretty common. And this one pertains to a funeral, and I don't know I don't know the name for it, but I know we came back uh, to the house and we were to wash our hands in some bowl of water, and it's just a big bowl of water, and you're supposed to wash your hands with this. You can put moringa, you can put certain types of leaves, herbal type leaves, in that water and wash your hands. It's supposed to clean your hands of whatever, I don't know. And also, we walked home from the cemetery, and they had a certain bucket that everybody had to wash, like thoroughly wash their shoes with water before you go back into the house. I guess you're gonna pull evil spirits or something back. I don't know. I'm not making fun. I'm just saying that's what it was. Now these are some more lighthearted ones. A couple of them. One is eating pancit on your birthday because I guess the noodles are gonna make you have long life. Okay. Hey, that would be one I'd put in the category of, well, it's not going to hurt anybody except for a few carbs. So, you could go ahead and do that. That's a good one. Keeping coins in wallets and purses, even if you're not using them. I've found this, like I'll find a little change purse somewhere. You're digging through a drawer. You're like, oh, there's something in there. And I open it up. Sure enough, there's some coins in there. Just about every purse. And my wife, she does some of this too. She'll put salt in certain places. She'll put coins in certain areas of the house. And by the end of this video, you're going to think she's a radically superstitious person. Again, she says, oh, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt anything. So anyway, itchy palms is said to be a sign of good luck. A couple that I, just during the course of our marriage, that I kind of found out. One time I was eating a plate of food, and there was another plate sitting there on the table, and the table was getting kind of congested with some other stuff. And so I took that empty plate and I just put it under mine, and I just continued eating my meal. And she said, no, you can't do that. I said, what do you mean I can't do that? She said, well, the superstition is that if you do that, eating one plate on top of another, that you're going to have marital troubles in the future. Okay, there it is. Believe it or not, Ripley's Believe It or Not. Yeah, don't do that. You'll have a troubled marriage. One that my mother-in-law, she was living with us back in Missouri. I'd come in after, cutting grass or something like this. We had a leather couch, and I just kind of sat down. We had a fan blowing, and I sat down in front of that fan, and my shirt was all wet, and of course the back of my shirt was wet too. And she said, oh, you can't do that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I was going to sit there and kind of cool down, and then I was going to take a shower. And so I'd sat down there to cool off, because you go take a shower and you're just sweating already. You're going to get out, you're going to continue to be sweating. So I wanted to cool down before I took my shower. She didn't like that. She said, and this is one, don't let sweat dry on your back or you'll get pneumonia, And the last one, there's a lot of them that are kind of funny to me, but this one just cracked me up. One day I'm in the kitchen, and Nana, my mother-in-law, she was standing in there too, and we had a bowl of oranges on the counter there, and I picked one up, and I'm just messing with it. I wasn't going to eat it. I just threw it up in the air, and I would spin it, catch it, and I was just talking to her, just doing that. Oh, don't do that, don't do that. I'm like, Nana, why? What could be possibly wrong with that? She goes, if you throw it up and you spin it like that, and then you eat it, it'll give you a stomach ache. Oh, really? Wow. That one I actually laughed at a little bit. But hey, if you don't think that's funny and you know the real reason, go down the comments section and tell me all about it. Tell me the reason why you should have that superstition, or why that's going to make your stomach hurt. But anyway, that's about all I have today. I'm sorry it's a little bit wordy. I'll try to cut some of it out. But anyway, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.